those against say nay. The nays have it.
Let me start with Reverend Koi. When you learnt about this mass arrest, as the case is, and of course, we saw the kind of how oratory, the kind of orator Sowore'S is as a person, is somebody who will speak out at any time. He doesn't care who's else is God here. You know, if you look at his stance on the revolution now, and of course he's been detained by the DSS, we're hearing that he's been transferred to Abuja. But really, the arrest made by the police itself, can it be justifiable? Some people are already saying that it has political undertone here. Look at the sprees of journalists that has been picked up. You keep wondering, what is the interest of these journalists who are there to cover events and the event itself? How can we take away politics from all of this?
See, thank you very much. The truth of the matter is I have carefully assessed the whole process of this Revolution Now movement, and I term it nothing but a planned coup against the government, which the government or any government shouldn't treat with levity. I listened to Sowore'S speech. I try as much as possible to look at it word by word, line by line. And if you share my views, you will realize that that is a speech of a man who really wants to disrupt the nation.
So you were seeing it as more of a political cue.
It was all set out to disrupt the nation. And I will give the DSS a big kudos for nipping that planned revolution in the mud by arresting
Do you agree in totality with what Reverend Koye had said? Given the fact that this man in question has been picked up, he's been arrested, and of course we've seen other mass arrests by the police itself. What do we make out of it? Is this a political coup, like Koye had said?
What Reverend just said is right, but I am not going to agree in totality, and I will explain. One of the beauties of democracy is the fundamental human right of freedom of speech. When you take freedom of speech out of democracy, then you don't have democracy. The problem we're having now is the sharp difference between peaceful protest and revolutionary protest. They are two different things. Sowore'S was arrested. I'm in support of that, in the sense that, like the gentleman just said, I listened to the speech before the protest. If you listen to that very well, and that coming from a man that just contested for the same office that the present sitting president contested for and lost, you discover there's a lot of sentiments and speech that could aggravate the populists. So
you are saying that is insightful. Most of the things that he said,
I think it is very, very insightful if you listen to the speech very well, and if you consider where it's coming from. If you were to be an ordinary person that had not campaigned, contested, and lost as a presidential candidate, okay, people will still be kind of liberal. But you will realize that it's sentimental.
But you've talked about freedom of speech here.
Yes.
At what point is the freedom of speech limited?
Okay.
Is there limitations to freedom of speech? Because for instance, I'm a Nigerian. Am I not entitled to air my view? To actually say that I'm disappointed about a system and I want to change. Am I wrong in saying that?
Thank you very much. There is a limit to everything. All right? Nothing is absolutely free. Even what you think is free.
So what's the essence of democracy?
Now,
when we have to face it, yes.
Now, freedom of speech is the beauty of democracy. But we are not talking of hateful, insightful speeches.
How do we measure it?
It depends
if it's hateful,
yes,
how do we know it's hateful?
It depends on what you are saying. Now, I don't know if I can demonstrate this.
Okay.
This is a cup of water, and the water is almost at the middle. There are two ways of saying this, of explaining this. There are two ways. Okay, one is positive, one is negative. Somebody has been working to fill these cups probably since morning, and you pick it and say, this cup is half empty. Is a fact, but it's negative. You have demoralized the person, the effort of the person that has been trying to fill this cup. But another person can come and say, oh wow, this is half full. It's a fact. But you have encouraged the person that has been working to fill
I understand your explanation.
Okay.
Isn't Sowore speaking the minds of many Nigerians
No,
here?
no.
Because if you look at people who came out to protest, it means that Nigerians have a lot of things they're bottling up. They have not been speaking out. Somebody else spoke for them.
No.
And that's why they are out.
Let me say it in this form.
Okay.
He used the word protest and vis-a-vis revolution. I was in a fora this morning and they said, but President Buhari and some people protested maybe 2014 or probably 2014. Now there is a line between a protest and a revolution. And what is the line? Like you rightly said, the Constitution allows us to protest. I, at various times, have carried out a one-man protest. Most times on my radio chat, contributing to news and analyzing news, I express protests. There is a song I sing sometimes ago, all we are saying, pay salaries, is a protest to the government, to the leaders. All we are saying, fix Nigeria, is a protest.
But are we not getting
now look at this in this way.
Let's look at it.
No, just let me make a point.
Before you go ahead, because you mentioned protest, and of course, what you're foreseeing,
yes,
Sowore is trying to do is different from protest itself.
If you look at the broadcast, Sowore
made the bit. He has said the theme of this protest is Revolutionnow. It's not like, according to his explanation,
like you rightly said, not too long.
And of course,
which is real.
Shoyinka actually explained this further, that teaming a particular protest Revolutionnow does not connote that he's going to take over government.
Tagging
he's
it,
only pushing out his mind to say that this is what I feel.
Tagging it Revolutionnow is not what made it an attempt at planning a coup. Every word Sowore pronounced, let's pull down this government, let's bring them down, let's get rid of them. I listened to the broadcast. Maybe they will subject it to forensic examination to know whether it is Sowore'S voice or not. You can't sit down in a country, like he said, where you have just contested an election and lost, and you are now inciting people to come together to pull down. To pull down what? And you mentioned something. You said Professor Soyinka was trying to explain it. I wish it was Professor Soyinka who wanted to lead the protest.
That's right.
Because he did not contest any election. I wish it was Femi Falana who wanted to lead the protest. I wish it was any of these people now who are speaking for Sowore, haven't done well, that wanted to go ahead and protest. But we are not just looking at the attempt at protesting. We are looking at the word of incitement, inciting the general populace to pull down.
But is that enough for the police to have allowed the pro-Buhari protests, for instance, to go into the fountain, as the case is, has been widely reported that these people were given opportunities to actually protest?
Who?
Why the pro-Buhari protesters itself, they were allowed to the Unity Fountain in Abuja to actually protest?
When was that?
And that was yesterday. And of course, it's been reported in many dailies that these individuals, those who are pro-Buhari, that are for Buhari government, were allowed to the Unity Fountain, while the Revolutionnow protesters were denied. What is
well,
the
let's look at it. Just like as I was trying to explain.
Yes, Reverend Koye, before you bought in, actually, why some people have actually seen it as overzealousness on a part of the security operatives, because okay, the Sowore that has made all of these statements that the security apparatus feel that is insightful has been locked up by the DSS. Now people accept that they will go ahead with this protest. Nobody is saying that they are going to be violent. Nobody is saying that they are using guns. But they are only going with their placards here. What is stopping the police, for instance, from guarding and ensuring that it's a peaceful protest instead of mass arrest?
Okay.
Like what you've seen.
Before you come,
with the journalists and all of, with the journalists too, are they wielding weapons there? Are they holding any pebbles to actually cause insecurity?
Now
why were they picked up?
When you started, you mentioned we have a constitutional right to protest, to which my brother said nothing is totally free. Even if you want to protest to the magnitude of what you have, you still have to ask for permits. The police can grant a permit, they may deny you permit.
They have the right to
but
do
let's
that.
leave all that. If you look back, we have precedents of Nnamdi Kalu, who they allowed to turn to a monster and almost disrupted the nation and was not listening to any voice of reasoning.
But the ideologies of
And now,
the
are you
is
saying
actually
that
different from what is happening
no,
now.
we have to rate everything to look at the justification behind it. I still keep looking back to the statement prior to August 5 attempts. If you look at the body language, if you look at every word Sowore was pronouncing, you will realize that if the DSS or the police had slept and allowed it, you and I will not be in this studio talking at this moment, because it will have
do
boomeranged.
you foresee that happening? Because elsewhere, do you think, as a matter of fact, you're a security expert, elsewhere in the world that the police, the DSS would have moved in to arrest him? He's just calling for a protest. He has not even started the protest.
No.
And he was picked up overnight like an armed robber, as the case is, and he was locked up. You know, when you look at all of these issues put together, shouldn't the intelligence be watching and taking intelligence? And if there is need to pick him up, they pick him up. Why do they move so quick? He hasn't even started anything.
All right.
And secondly, hasn't his fundamental human right been abused already from what we are seeing?
Thank you very much. I like the way you are being sympathetic of
I'm actually not sympathetic.
Okay.
I'm having an open mind.
open mind. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Let me just chip in some things that probably might help your view. There is a straight view and there is a broad view. Now, you said people still came out, despite the fact that the person that was to lead had been arrested. Does that not mean that he probably might have been speaking for the people?
Exactly.
All right. Now, we are a country of over 200 million people. There is nothing you take to the market that you not find a buyer. However stupid it is. There is, if you decide to be working on your head now, there are people that will say, wow, that's lovely. A young man has been parading himself as a female, blah, blah, blah. We enter some parties, people will clap. And in some years back, people will shout, abomination. That's telling you what
But some of the issues
is turning into. Now,
okay.
If it was another person that had arranged this meeting, I am sure the way this man was treated, he probably wouldn't have been treated that way. Did you listen to his speech? I am not pro-Buhari, I'm not anti-Buhari. I'm just for a better Nigeria. But if you are into security, security breeds on information. There is no reasonable government that will get classified information of what is about to set the country ablaze and we keep quiet. The statement made by Sowore was too insightful. At a point, he said,
can you explain some of the statements?
Okay, at the time, yes, I just mentioned this. At the time, he said, if he is prevented, he's going to set himself ablaze. That is tough. That he will set himself ablaze. And many idiots will join him. Okay? I stayed glued to the TV yesterday, watching what was happening in Sowore'S. The anti-terror policemen that went, okay, did not touch anybody initially. I saw the protesters taking stones and stoning the police. A young lady went to a police officer, pointed into his face and slapped the police. And I thank God for the young man. He just walked away.
We have a caller online, Dr. Okola. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Please, may we have your name? Are you still there? Okay, let's move on. Go ahead.
If you look at, because sometimes when something happens, look at the precedents, things that have happened. We have a monster that we're dealing with now that we've not been able to handle again, the Boko Haram. It was pronounced as the world's deadliest terrorist group.
You know, my concern here is that where did the DSS get the information that he has sponsorship from outside the country? He has said that some countries have been signatory to the Revolutionnow. That's what he said.
Okay.
But where does the DSS, for instance, get that intelligence so quick?
He's
having a sponsor from outside the country.
Okay.
How true are those?
They are true.
Yes.
You see, one thing with the police is, you see, we should give it to them. There is a group called surveillance. You and I are being watched. They are listening to us. People you don't know, they see who you are relating with. Sowore was online with Nnamdi Kanu. Sowore had been coming in and going out. He was in Dubai for a meeting. All these are not secret things. In fact, yesterday, I don't know reliably, that must still be subjected to investigation. There was an amount of money to the tune of about $1 million that was paid into an account.
Whose account here?
Well, I don't want to mention names.
Okay.
So I don't want to. That's still subject to investigation. So when there is a gang up, you don't expect the security arms to fold their hands. Oftentimes we have lambasted our security arm as not being too efficient enough. But to this Sowore issue, we need to give them kudos.
Can I just?
Okay, please go ahead.
You were talking about how did they get the information? It will have been irresponsible of a government if there are useful classified information like that and it evades the government. I work with the British police as a senior intelligence officer. I just told you that security breeds on information. There is no information, there is no security operation. All right? That's what we do. Your ears must be close to the ground because it is what you hear that you walk upon. There is a segment of the police that is all about getting information. And if such big issue comes up without any classified information from them, then they are failing in their response. And also this man.
Dr. Okola. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Can you just turn down the audio level of Hello. Okay, for some of our callers who need to call in, please obey the rules. You have to turn down the audio level of your TV set so we can hear each other. The numbers again are 0811-4777. That's 4777-841 for you to participate. Okay, Okola, you are on already.
And you ask the question, why don't the police just fold their hands and see and allow them to
and actually be on surveillance,
on surveillance,
and be on standby to actually watch if anything is going to break down.
Listen to.
We have another call. Hello, good evening. Hello there, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening. What's your name?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. What's your name and where you calling from?
Surely a person needs to be proved. You know, in a country like this, we need a kind of this revolution now. We need peace. And I know quite sure that Sowore is just like a mask. There are people using him to cause a confusion in the country. They need to interrogate him very well so that he will review the aims and objectives why he carries such a revelation in this time of this country. Because most of all these things can cause a problem to the society. We need to address issues. Let's forget about political issues. Let's talk about the issues on ground, how Nigeria will be better. Because if we should be following all these things now, it will bring a problem to the country. Shawari need to be interrogated, and I know that he's not only him. There are many people who are using him to problem in the country. Please, we need to address this issue. That is my own view.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's unfortunate I couldn't get your number and your name and where you're calling from. Okay, that's a caller. Yes, I was actually looking at what is the role that the journalists actually played wrong.
Okay.
You know, what were they picked up in the first instance?
Okay.
Were they part of those who said that the revolution now must continue or must take place? These are people who have gone about their various disciplines in terms of covering the protest itself. Why were they picked up?
Can I answer that? Now, if you look at, you mentioned that.
Okay, we have another caller.
Okay,
Sorry,
let's
Reverend. Hello, good evening. Oh dear. Hello, good evening. Okay, we hope to get a clearer call.
Now, the truth of the matter is, even despite Sowore'S being picked up, you will realize that some people still went out. The question that you will ask is, who mobilized these people to go out? It was not an overnight planning. People were being recruited here and there. It was designed to hold in at least many states. If you remember Governor Wike of...
but what explanation do we have for the journalists who were picked up?
The journalists that were picked up must have acted beyond their role as journalists.
But what is the duty of the journalists? To keep the public aware
yes,
of what is going on.
But in a situation where...
So how come?
In a situation where they are supportive...
Oh, sorry, Koye, we have to pick this. Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yes, good evening. Go ahead.
Hello.
Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening.
What's your name and where are you calling from?
Good evening. My name is Michael. Calling from Kogi State.
Go ahead, Michael.
Please. The little thing I want to contribute about or what people are saying, we need to tell ourselves the truth in this country. For things to move in this country, we need to tell ourselves the truth. Because you can't tell me that all these things happening and you look as if maybe nobody is in the country. Honestly, just like the man in the studio, they are saying that there are people in Parliament to go and do something wrong. Before ever you say something of that nature, you should understand what you're saying, because if people are angry, the youth are not happy about what is happening in this country. We should tell ourselves the truth and tell the people leading for them to know that youth are angry. And until we tell them the truth, if not, this type of thing will not stop like this. It will still happen. And time will come when those people you see that they are stopping, they're trying to stop people not to protest. Time will come when they cannot be able to handle it, because everybody are angry about what is happening in this country now. We are not happy.
Okay, Michael, yes. Thank you so much for calling in.
Kindly permit me to answer Michael.
Okay.
I sat down to look at his line of thought that people are angry. Yes. I asked myself, do we need a revolution in Nigeria? Yes, we need a revolution. But what sort of revolution do we need in Nigeria? We need to know what revolution is and what it should be tailored towards, especially now in nation building. The revolution we need is not to destroy public peace, like Sowore'S was organizing. The revolution we need is not to be throwing missiles at policemen. The revolution we need is not to confront...
We have another caller who also wants to contribute. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, how are you?
I'm great. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Yeah. My name is Nyakuma. I'm calling from Akadi.
Oh, okay, go ahead. I couldn't get your name well, but just go ahead.
Yeah, I want to answer one question that they asked in the video there.
Please go ahead.
Go.
Yeah, about the journalists that were arrested.
Okay.
The question we'll ask is it every journalist that covered the purported revolution that was arrested yesterday? If no, can't we see that certain journalists must have done what is beyond their own profession before they were arrested?
You're right.
Are you done? Are you done with your opinion there? Okay, thank you so much for calling from Macaulay itself. You know, I've seen instances.
I was about to answer that. They went beyond their brief.
Before we go ahead,
that was why they were arrested.
I'm also a journalist who has actually worked on the field, and I know, for instance, that the police could be. I'm sorry to say,
they could be nasty.
The police. It's not really the police actually. Security apparatus could be very overzealous sometimes.
You are right.
Even with your ID card, they beat you up and tell you to go back. Now, there are two pictures there because we're not there. It's very speculative to actually say that these people went beyond their brief. It could be that they were carrying out their normal assignment of covering the protest and they got kicked.
But we
and
got
it could
information.
be that those zones that they were not allowed to go, they went there. There are two things there. But how should a security apparatus, who is supposed to be protecting lives and property, handle this? Because we saw pictures of how the Sahara reporter here was beaten up. We saw how he laid on the floor.
Okay.
What do we begin to make out of all of this?
I will answer you like this. Even in war, real war, all right, there are rules of engagement. There are rules of engagement. There are times to shoot. There are times not to. There are times to take prisoners of war. All right. I want to believe that for such a monumental event like what happened yesterday, because the whole world was watching. There's a protest going on right now in Croydon, Nigeria, as London, about this. There's one going on in Germany. There's one going on in I believe, in Texas. A friend of mine called me. So Sowore'S and his team, they knew what they wanted to do. The same country you want to rule is the same country you are trying to bring down. It's not done. I know something happened that made me to laugh. Because when you want to do something like that, you check your credibility first. Among the crowd of protesters, there are members of his party, political party, displaying placard. Sowore'S, before you go to prison, please return our money. Because after the election, it was disowned and sent away by...
those are still allegations.
Wait.
They've not been proven by any court of law here. And he has not been penalized for that.
It's okay.
He has not debunked it. He has not debunked it.
He has not debunked it.
No court has actually
He has not debunked it. He has not said yes. So I'm just trying to tell you...
for them to ask where is the money, because they said he has everything in his control.
He is not the right person to spearhead that kind of a protest.
Hello?
Not to talk of
we have another caller online. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Good evening, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good evening.
Please go ahead. Good evening.
My
What's your
name is
name?
Ojo, yes, good evening, Ojo.
Calling from Lagos.
Oh, okay, fantastic. Please go
Please,
ahead.
I want to know the people. I want to ask them. Those people there, I want to ask them a question.
Yeah, go on.
The
please.
people that they arrest, did they find any arms, any form of arms in their own position? Did they find anything like guns, knife, or any other thing from them?
Let me answer your question. Are you
Thank
still
you,
They
listening?
don't find nothing
No,
of that
I
nature.
think he wants to listen.
Okay.
And the way I'm seeing the whole thing, what you just saw is the little one, because the big one are coming. And this very big one, if they want to arrest, they should continue to arrest, because this time around, where they will arrest people now, the prison will full and nowhere to keep to keep people.
We hope there won't be more people
Because
that
if
will
they don't
arrest
want
you,
to
Joe.
listen to the youth and know what is happening and know how to solve the problem of this country.
We must
how
say
to
thank
do
you
things
so
that
much,
people
Joe,
want.
for
They
contributing
should continue
your
to
thoughts.
arrest.
Thank you so
They are
much
still
for being
going to
part of
arrest more
this.
people, because the thing have not ended.
Okay, in as much as we do not want to believe that more troubles will come.
Yes, that's
You know,
why
he
I
has
said
actually
let me
said-
lay a foundation on the issue of revolution.
Okay.
If we say, do we need a revolution? Yes, but the revolution is the revolution that will affect the life of the Nigerian people, that will help us to have right values. An election has just been conducted. We had the chance to bring in somebody of our choice. A choice has been made. Now to go around and say, no, we are going to upturn the process, It's madness.
You know, let's take this call before I go to my next question. Okay, hello, good evening. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Yes, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good evening.
What's your name and where are you calling
Hello,
from?
good evening.
Good evening.
Hello, good evening.
Yes, go on. We can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Yes.
loud and clear.
Hello, good evening. Can you hear
Good
me?
evening. We can hear you. I'm ducking my head so that you could see that we could hear you.
All right.
Okay.
I just want to contribute.
Okay,
to
please
the
go
program. I want to say that it is going to justify a wrong, another wrong. Every wrongful act is to be treated under its particular circumstance. Sowore'S has committed an act of treason for which upon tangible evidence he should be prosecuted. He made it emphatically clear that he wanted to possibly bring up as a legitimate government. No possible government would fold its arm in the midst of such dangerous threat. So, like you rightly said in one of your, one of your guests there rightly said, he placed himself into the hands of government. So he needs to dance to the tone. He plays the music, so he should be treated.
Thank you so much. We didn't get your name though. Thank you so much for contributing. Actually, it re-echoed some of the things that you talked about here. I was going to a point where I was going to ask this question: that how come we did not have the ministerial list involve Moghalu and the likes of Sowore'S? How come? And some people already saying, as a matter of fact, that it's because they were not included.
Yes,
on this
I want
list.
to agree.
That's why he actually felt that it's a system that will continue the way it went in 4 years.
I believe we will still speak about
Okay.
that. I believe Mr. President Muhammadu Buhari is the coach in this game. And
So he cannot be
he should
checked.
be able to pick his team.
So nobody
people-
can check.
Now, you see, the truth of the matter is, we are mentioning names. You have mentioned Sowore'S, you have mentioned Moghalu. Do you
Even
know
as a
the, do
question-
you know the security report government have about these people? One thing, it's not always good to criticize government, because at the purview of government, they have security report and updates of each and everything they are acting on that is not open to us. Upon the basis of this, they make decision. So you don't know what they
over and over time.
You don't know what they
Even
are.
if they are ex-governors, we repeat them over and over time.
No, it's
fresh
not.
blood
It's not the issue
will
of
be allowed.
repeating. Okay, now look at it. I will say, even now, somebody like my fellow gentleman here is capable of being a minister. You are capable of being a minister. We've got one credibility or the other, but the point is, are we positioned towards it? And when people,
How do we get positioned
we
towards
get
it?
positioned by
How?
moving closer to political parties.
But really, we have a Sowore'S, for instance, who is an AAC
But
presidential
do you
candidate.
know the
How
report they
come?
have on Sowore'S? All that I that sat here, ordinary reporter. I was in a radio chat in Splash FM with Sowore'S. A caller called in and he called him a blackmailer, laying facts on the ground that he was blackmailing him over a matter. We were on YS Live show on that day, and by the time Sowore'S was asked, they said, "Do you know this man?" He was trying to dance around the story. You could see the guilt all over.
Let me just cut
Okay,
in this.
well, that's one out of
You
one
see.
out of
So
the
really,
scenarios that
we
you
need to know the
created.
caliber of people we talk. Even in the news, just a minute, sir. Even in the news, there was another lady that said they invited Sahara reporter to cover an event for them. They covered it very well, but they sold it to the people they were trying
But
to
we are
expose.
not looking at SAR reporters here. We are actually looking at the
That
personality.
is why I said we
of
don't
Sowore'S,
know
and
the
even-
report they have. Personally, I believe, reading the manifesto of Moghalu, I believe Moghalu has it upstairs. I don't know why the government is not bringing Moghalu as a minister, but they will have their reasons. And I believe we have, like he said, 200 million people in Nigeria. Out of these 200 million people, we will have nothing less than the 120 million people that are capable
So many.
to become minister in
So
this
many.
country.
So many.
But whoever is there, let us support them for good government and governance in Nigeria.
But as the case is now, he's been picked up, he's been locked, and of course, the international community are also watching.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, after the election process itself, Atiku is in court. And of course, we've seen some travel ban, although the US did not give us the details of those who are banned here. But those, according to them, influenced the elections wrongly. From what they are seeing so far, is this healthy for our democratic development itself? And of course, things like this are easier for the international community to want to wade in. And we know what will happen when they want to wade in, for instance, to help. And once it comes to the issue of help, it means our sovereignty here will be in check. How do we handle this that it doesn't get out of hand?
You mean the arrest of Sowore?
Of course, because it's already generating controversy. Okay, before you go, hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Hello. Please go ahead.
Hello, good evening. Go on.
Hello, good evening. What's your name and where you calling from? Can you hear us? Okay.
Emmanuel Lago, calling from Enugu.
Okay, please go ahead, Emmanuel.
Please, I want to ask a question.
Yeah.
This revolution, is this, what are they doing? What is it for what?
Okay. You are not a Nigerian.
What are they doing it for?
Emmanuel, you happen not to be a Nigerian, right?
Interesting.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, Emmanuel. You say you're shocked about the revolution.
The reason why I asked that question is if they know the reason why they are doing that, they should also try to solve the problem that makes them to start up the protest or the revolution. They should find a solution to it. Not to arrest them, because you should ask somebody what is their problem. If a child is crying, I don't believe that if you want that child to close mouth, you will not just start flogging the child on top of the cry. You should find a way to ask the child, why are you crying? So that the child will open mouth and tell you, this is the reason why I'm crying. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emmanuel. Of course, he just said something different entirely. Meaning that
so
he's saying
find
don't
out
keep
why.
them quiet. Exactly. And of course, it brings me down to an issue of, is it not true that the country is riddled with poverty? There is corruption on one side. And of course, the economic issue has been on the front burner forever. The Boko Haram crisis is there. People are being killed on a daily basis. And we've seen how it's been treated with kids' glove. I keep actually comparing us with the international community. The same time, okay, we have a caller. Hello, good evening. Hello, good evening. Yes, please, what's your name and where are you calling from? Yes, loud and clear. Please go ahead. Okay, I keep comparing us with what happened in North Carolina, California here, where people were killed at the festival. Just three people. At the same time, 60 people were killed here in Nigeria. No police briefing, no witnesses were allowed to talk. And now we have just 3 people who were killed. We had several briefings. We saw how CNN took them.
Maybe our style is not tailored in that direction.
What is wrong with our attaching premium? Because Emmanuel says something that you should ask people
the
why.
crying child.
We are not seated here supporting every
status quo
of the government.
No,
I've just said that I am not pro or anti anybody. Nobody is satisfied. I'm not in support of the word that the other caller used, that everybody is angry. It's not everybody that is angry. There are
everybody desire a better Nigeria.
Yes.
We want something better than what we have at the moment.
We are dissatisfied with the way things are being run. This is not the way a country should be run. This is not a way people should be treated. Before we came in on air, my friend and I were discussing about a friend of ours, a medical doctor, whose son and 3 other staffs were abducted.
You see?
And 2 days after, the kidnappers were asking for 50 million. And the ransom of about 15 M had to be paid. And I was asking, do you know how many years you will work to raise
such
15 million? And government is not doing anything about that. The country is excited already. Excited in the sense that I'm using a chemical terms now. it's at a point wherein any little aggravation again can break us. Okay? And we don't, somebody was saying, what will happen next? Bigger things will happen. They will still kill so many people. You don't talk about war as if is going to market and coming back.
So we are not ready for anything called civil war yet.
We are not ready for that.
Some people are ready phantom.
No,
we don't need it.
We don't need that.
We need to build the nation.
We don't need that. There are proper way of handling issues.
That's true.
Even the president of our nation is answerable to some international bodies.
That's true.
Okay? There are ways you can channel your grievances as a nation.
Okay. Hello, good evening.
Hello?
Hello, good evening. What's your name and where are you calling
Good evening.
from? Good evening.
Uh,
Please go ahead.
this is Raymond from Ojo.
Okay, please go ahead, Raymond.
Please, actually, we cannot run away. We can't run away from the situation the country is very wrong. Things are not rightly done.
Yeah.
If we're talking of revolution, people should there should be revolution against the political class, not carry arms.
That's right.
When these are non-confirmed report that a senator is collecting about 20-something million, the government cannot pay that 1,000 minimum wage. So if there is a way to revolt against, so that things can be rightly done, so that this thing will go round, that would be better. Secondly, the whole world, everybody is begging Mr. President, he should please speak on this issue of food and investment. It's becoming too much. For the man that was arrested, I believe if it is one of the ministers, he will not organize anybody. And we only choose to revolutionalize in Nigeria when things is not working out in our side. God bless Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Raymond, for contributing. So most of our callers have actually had these divergent views of all of this, but we are experts. As the case is, you are expert actually looking at all of this. How do we begin to manage this that it doesn't degenerate? You had one of our callers say something bigger could be coming, and it might not be far from the truth too. You know, there are some people like that. But really, how do we manage this well? Okay, before you answer that, let's take this. This might be our last call for this evening. Hello, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Hello, good evening.
Please go ahead. Good evening.
Oh, my name is Comrade Matthew Additional.
Okay. Where are you calling from, sir?
Hello.
Please go ahead.
The issue of Sowore'S. So, in fact, you should be severely dealt with. The reason is this. Now, if Sowore'S happens to win the election, the presidential election, Sowore'S will never organize any protest.
No.
He is appointed as one of the ministers. He will never organize a protest. People are selfish. And they want to cause problems, especially the politicians. Those who lost during the general election, especially presidential election.
Please go ahead.
We have to gear up and make sure that these people are severely dealt with. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's our last caller that we're going to be taking. But what do we make out of all of this itself?
Let's begin to propose solution now. Now, I will appeal to the federal government of Nigeria, to release Sowore'S because of our international reputation.
So what are the conditions you think should be given?
The conditions should be, one, we don't want revolutionary protest. Peaceful protest, yes, but not even after the police has said, no, you cannot protest because
not giving them permission. But is that not abuse of their rights too?
No. It's because of the assessment of what is on ground at that time. Okay, I have a company that I run, and it's one of the conditions for my staff that you can apply for an IOU if you're in need of money to the tune of your monthly salary. Okay, and there is a condition there, depending on the availability of funds. That there are always conditions. Now, That's number one.
So how does it have to do with the issue? What's the connection between this and security matters in the country itself? Because these are people who are agitated about the way things have been run in the country. And they wanted a voice to actually say that we have a voice to protest against
I've just said that nobody can kill the voice of the people. This is democracy. The work or the function of the people in democracy, in every aspect of life, is people see and people say. What people say, people say. You can't stop people from saying what they see. But we are saying that when you have something tangible to tell the government, do it in a civilized way. Not in a way.
Because we
and
have
secondly, this is to our political class. All right? Stop trying to use people to get what you want. We have grown beyond that in Nigeria. Nigeria are wiser now. You can't keep your own family somewhere and give this, give our children, 10,000, 5,000. You will be surprised tomorrow that you will hear that some people are paid to be on the street yesterday. You will be shocked that some people were paid.
Okay, some of your parting words, because we have to
the truth of my parting word is we have structures in Nigeria. We mentioned Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar is in court. Everything Sowore'S said in the course of his insightful statement shows that he is not happy with the recently conducted election. The rightful thing for him to do is to go to court.
Reverend Koyi, your thought actually that he's not happy
He's
with
not.
the process.
He's not happy with the process. But instead of instigating violence to pull down a government that won election by 15 million followers, of which you score less than 44,000, he should have gone to court.
Okay, at this point, I must say thank you so much, gentlemen, for being here. I've been speaking to very renowned individuals here. Dr. Adekunle Okunla. He is a public affairs analyst and, of course, a security expert. Thank you for being here.
Thank you very much.
And, of course, I've been speaking also to Koyi Ladele. He's a public commentator and, of course, public
It's nice being here.
analyst.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And
Thanks
also to all
me.
our callers, thank you for also participating this evening discussions itself. My name is Bola Bofimo School, and it's a wrap on Political Talk. Do join us again next week, Tuesday. Have a pleasant evening.
I intend to keep my oath and serve as president to all Nigerians. I belong to everybody and I belong to nobody.
That this is an impeachable offense. It's an impeachable offense and we cannot allow that. We cannot stay there and Nigerians the assembly will be taken for granted. Nigerians will be taken for granted.
Say aye. Those against say nay. The nays have it.
Impact Africa Television. Explore, entertain, elevate.